we're so overly reliant on the visual world. Pamela, you were saying you came to New York and you didn't see the signs. You know, are we too reliant on our eyes to the point that we're not getting a full experience of the world and somehow getting a stunted view of what we can experience if we did experience things that we lost those senses because of quality?
I think absolutely. We rely so much on our eyes, and our vision, if we can see, is dominant. It's there. It's things are laid out in front of us, and it's easy to ignore what our other senses are telling us. And by being blindfolded in this production of The Blind, I felt that it wasn't so much that I'm relating to blind people, because you can't just be blindfolded and suddenly understand what it's like to be blind. But what was so effective was that I did relate to the environment and everything that was happening, and there's so many references in the libretto to hearing, to feeling, to temperature, to sound, to smell, and I was very, very aware, as the characters were, of all of those other senses, and I think that's the key thing, that it really heightened my senses, because I wasn't having to look at anything. I was really thinking about what my whole body was telling me, and also spatial relationships, where the singers were in relation to me, was so fascinating.
It's all, for me, about promoting an understanding. And in fact, I think my last note to the cast before the first night was, our job is to make sense of music. If we do that, then we've done our job. And in that sense, blindfolding an audience was an attempt to help them understand music. Usually, whether I'm making a film or an opera production or a TV thing, I've found that using visual media has been a way of promoting understanding for sighted people of music, because it helps them construct or makes them understand structure, rhythm, just relationships. Music is geometric in many ways, and if you can see somebody playing the marimba, it's kind of fascinating. It's fascinating to listen to, but when you can see it as well, it's fascinating in a different way. And so, approaching this piece, the characters can't see. So, if I want the audience to feel like the characters, it would be really weird to leave them as sighted. It's just struck me as the most logical thing in the world. I should just... And so one becomes incredibly dependent. The moment you think you smell something, oh, what's that? You hear something, what's that? But that's exactly what the characters in the story are doing, because they feel abandoned, they feel like they're unable to do anything, and they feel like they're searching for some way of establishing their environment, where they are, what they can do, what they can't do, how threatened they are, how they can save themselves. And so the audience is doing the same thing, and because they can't see, they therefore become very aware and dependent on their other senses. And it's very interesting watching, I sometimes watch, the audience during a performance, and how they react physically to the world around them. A lot of people feel quite vulnerable, which is understandable. But when they feel somebody going past, maybe they don't even hear them, but they feel them. And you can see people sort of, and that's a sense, I don't know what that sense is exactly, but sometimes the singers move past them and they're not making any noise. They're not singing and you can't hear their feet. There are other times when you can. And I've seen people shy away from somebody, wondering if there's somebody there. And I find that fascinating, that they're so attuned to the world around them, quite precisely because they can't do it the easy way. Of course, Lera's piece is very much the centre of this. I did come to it because I was looking for a way of working in this genre to a degree. The last time I was at Lincoln Center in 2007 was with another a cappella environmental immersive piece of music drama, if you like, and that had been a very successful project, and it lasted a long time, and it was coming to its end when we were here. So in the years that followed, I was looking for something else that would allow me to get singers close to an audience, amidst them even. And so I searched for a cappella opera on Google and found Lera Auerbach's The Blind, because then at least, if not now, I probably still know, it was the only one. Then I ordered the score from the publisher, and it took a while to make it happen. But so the leap towards blindfolding an audience was a consequence of deciding I was going to try and do this piece, having already established that I wanted to do it in an immersive way. So perhaps if I hadn't been wanting to do, if the immersive element hadn't been already part of my plan, possibly I would have left it on the stage. But I don't think so, because I'm so passionate about getting people to connect with art that the division created by sitting in a theatre looking at people who are playing people you can't see, I think would bother me anyway. Because we use sight generally to objectify, to define what something is, because we can do it pretty accurately. As human beings, we're quite good at seeing, generally. And I think that one of the things that I've heard back from the audience during these performances is that not seeing is actually freed their imagination. So rather than sitting there in a void of vision, they simply see it in their mind's eye. And they construct the whole forest and the island and whatever else is in the story. It's all there. And probably much better than anything I could have created for them. I dare say it would have moved better than anything I could have afforded. Possibly technically possible, I'm sure we wouldn't have had the budget. So it's in some ways a richer experience. It's like the reason why the film was never as good as the book. Ultimately, because much as I say, I wouldn't want to put myself out of a career, but much as I say that with music, sometimes it's very helpful to have a visual element to help people engage with it. If you rely on the visual element entirely, then you can never get lost in it.
I think that's such a good point, and yeah, I think it would be fascinating to know a year from now to talk to people about their memories of their experience of the blind, and to know what they say. You know, was it visual? Was it olfactory? You know, is there what stands out in their memory quite different from seeing a visual performance of an opera? And I wonder if it would even be more, if it would even be still richer than your memory. If you've developed that memory based on multisensory representations, your memory is bound to be enriched by that down the line.